Welcome to The Daily, presented by EA Sports FIFA 12. It's Monday, October 17th with Greg Lawless. I'm Jason Seguini. Plenty going on coming out of this weekend that really affected the playoff race. And we're going to start in D.C. where there was some big-time drama. Dwayne De Rosario gets a 90-minute PK to put them up 1-0. You think D.C. has it in the bag, but someone forgot to tell the Fire, Greg.
Yeah, they sure did. And Grazzini gets a goal in the 92nd minute, and then Diego Chavez, who has sort of disappeared through this season, comes up huge with a goal in the 94th minute to give the Chicago Fire a 2-1 victory at RFK. I think he stunned just about everyone in the DC area in this one, and it keeps the Chicago Fire alive in the playoff race. If they'd lost that one, they were done for the most part. So all of a sudden, it's incredible. DC United looked like they were going to be looking good to try and get into a playoff spot. Now Chicago Fire have that momentum. Looks like they could do it.
All right, both of these teams still alive in the playoffs. Yep. Other matchup in the Eastern Conference that had a ton of playoff implications was the New York Red Bulls going out to Kansas City to take on Sporting. This game turned on a very dramatic moment when Thierry Henry was red carded in the first half of the game.
Yeah, I don't know what Thierry Henry is thinking here. Maybe someone needs to talk to him in French about not doing something like this. This is incredible. He goes off and out of his way to knee Roger Espinoza from Sporting Kansas City. He gets an automatic red card. I'm still flabbergasted that there were some people on some of the sites and out there on Twitter and stuff who thought it was a bad call. This was the best call I've seen ever. This is a given on a red card to me. There's no doubt he goes out of his way and he ends up looking almost to hurt Roger Espinoza. He looked like he was angry about a tackle a couple seconds earlier. And you know what? Kansas City finally take advantage of it. Teal Bunbury gets a goal. CJ Sapong gets a goal. 2-0 victory. Puts him in great position to stay in first place and win the Eastern Conference.
That win actually clinched a playoff spot for Kansas City. Remember now, Thierry Henry out for the huge matchup on Thursday night against Philadelphia, which really will determine whether or not the Red Bulls get into the playoffs. A bunch of teams did get into the playoffs this weekend. Colorado, Columbus, we mentioned Kansas City, Philadelphia, and Houston all clinching playoff berths.
Yeah, and a good win for Houston up in Portland on Friday night. I think a lot of us thought that this was a game the Timbers were going to win. They were feeling confident, and Houston were not looking good. But you know what? They came out and they did a very good job. They were pushing all along. I thought Jeff Cameron had a very good game. Andre Eno with a goal and Danny Cruz with a stunner from long distance to seal the game for them. They put in a great performance. What does this do for Houston? They're in the playoffs. Now can they actually start to make a dent as they move forward?
Yeah, Houston could actually finish towards the top of the Eastern Conference here, so they still have a lot to play for. They play LA Galaxy in the final game of the season. Up the coast from Portland was a incredible display in Seattle. When you look at the crowd that showed up to say goodbye to Casey Keller, 64,000 people, it packed the stadium at CenturyLink.
Yeah, and they were treated with something special by Casey Keller himself. He had a great game, 7 saves on the night, including a 4-save sequence in the second half, about the 65th minute, when he comes up huge again and again and again. At that point, it was 1-0. Chris Wondolowski had gotten an early goal for San Jose, and what that sequence of saves did, Jason, was it gave them a huge shift in momentum. That and Mauro Rosales came on the field, and he changed things as well in the attack. And late, into the 82nd minute it was, I believe, and all of a sudden, newcomer Sammy Ochoa with a great goal, runs onto the through pass, puts it away. And who comes up at the end? Freddie Montero, who people have been asking questions about all season, but you know what? He shows up when it really matters, and if you look at his stats on the season, and especially his performances in the last month and a half or so, he's been phenomenal. This is a Seattle team that is feeling really confident heading into the playoffs.
All right, Greg, you mentioned Chris Wondolowski scored that ties him with Dwayne De Rosario at the top of the Golden Boot race. Obviously, Thierry Henry won't be making a push. Mendoza, though, had a couple goals this weekend, so there is still a race for the Golden Boot headed into the final weekend. One more game to tell you about from last night. The LA Galaxy put on a defensive display in the Super Classico.
Yeah, Chad Barrett got the goal in the second half, made it 1-0 victory over Chivas USA, but it was the defense. Again, we've been talking about it all season long. The LA Galaxy defense seems unbreakable at this point. And you know what? They're setting new records right now for defense even.
Yeah, they tied the 2000 Kansas City team for the most shutouts in an MLS season. They have the opportunity against Houston in the final game of the season to break that record. So plenty to talk about. Clearly, there's a lot going on with the playoff races. We'll have all of that on Extra Time Radio later today. You can get it on iTunes or Buzzsprout, and we'll be back on The Daily tomorrow.